everyone, and good evening or good morning because this is global. I love to say that. My name is Barbara J. Beckley, and this is the Diamond Factor Experience Network. And usually I come on during the mornings, our shows, but this is a special edition. And I'm so excited because I get to interview the one and only, the legendary Barry B. Mixon. I was talking to Barry yesterday, and we're going to get into why he's basically, this is a special edition of the show, is because one thing we're going to talk about tonight that's going to come out of this interview that I'm doing with Barry is the word legendary, being a legend. And he's going to express a little bit more on that. I know I'm already giving him a little clue of one of the things we're going to be talking about. And I want you to really understand when we talk about this, especially when he talks about it, how it's not just the word. It's not just a word. It's bigger than that. There's a lot behind it. There's a lot of accountability behind it. So, and with Barry B. Mixon winning, yes, he won the District 103 International Speech Contest yesterday. Yes. And with that, it's nice to have a title and to win, but you have to understand the work behind it. And that's why I told Barry, can we talk and have this conversation tonight about that? First, to congratulate him, because I really wanted to do this special edition for him because he deserves it, for one. Just going to put it out there. And second, we hear about titles all the time. People put their titles on. But sometimes we don't really understand what it takes to have that title. And it's funny because Barry, on Wednesday, he does his Gem Hunter show. And just a few weeks ago, he was talking about, queens, and naming people a certain, like queens. And everybody's not a queen. Everybody's not a certain diamond. And we had to talk about that a few weeks ago. And I have to say, you know what? You're right. Because if you put in the work to get to those titles, you just don't throw that title on somebody. I throw a title on Barry all the time that he's wonderful, he's a mentor, he's fabulous, he's tremendous, and he's legendary, because I see him working at it every second of the day. So I told him this would be a good opportunity to really dig into that a little bit more so people understand how to get to that point, because we're always talking about how we want to reach and make a difference in life. Let's talk about how we get to that point. So with that, I'm going to really start the show. This is weird because I do it at night, but I'm going to start the show, and then we're going to bring on Mr. Barry B. Mixon. Here we go.
All right, we're here. Okay.
Ooh, I like that voice. Your mic is coming really well. I'm gonna have to buy that. How are
Thank you.
you, Mr. Barry B. Mixon?
Hey, waking somebody up at 10 o'clock at night. You know, this is a residential district. You can't be waking people up this time of night.
But I mean, with you being this celebrity now, Barry, I can only catch you when I can. So you give me
Thank you, thank you.
you giving me this time, and I'm like, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it.
Thank
So
you.
I want to get into it because I'm like you said, I know it's late, but I really want to make sure we get into some things about asking. First of all, congratulations,
Thank you. Thank you.
congratulations,
Thank you.
and I want to let you basically because you explained it so well in a quick time. Just because a lot of people that are listening, some people might not be Toastmasters, some people might not understand the whole livelihood of the contest part aspect of
Mhm.
Toastmasters. So I was going to ask you, you could just tell us a little bit of how that goes. And
Mhm.
then what I want to do is play a clip from your speech. And then
Okay.
from there, we can go into some questions. So if you could do
Okay.
that, that'd be awesome.
Okay, great. So, good evening, everybody. Of course, my name is Barry B. Mixon, and Toastmasters is a international organization. Thus, the term Toastmasters International. Something like 300,000 members, 170 countries, and each year they have four contests: table topics, table topics, humorous speech, evaluation, and international speech contest. So this year I competed in the international speech contest. The contests go from club levels, four levels: club level, area level, division level, and then district level, which is the finals. And once you go through the finals, now they have a new rule, and you go to what's called either quarterfinal or regional. And then once you get past the regional, then you go to the world championship, and you have the semifinals and then the finals, which in 2012 I was at the world championship in the international speech contest. So, and
A
hopefully
lot
I'll
of
get a
levels.
chance to go again.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We're rooting, and it
Thank you.
continues. So what I want to do, because like I said, we're going to get into a little bit about your journey now that we
Mhm.
talked about how it all works out, and then I've got a little clip because I'm telling a lot of people I want to get the whole thing tomorrow of your speech, but let's get a little clip, and then we're going to talk a little bit about that. So here we go.
Okay.
Imagine what it would feel like to do something, to make something, to build something, to design something, to invent something, to teach something, to write something, to draw something, to dream something, to discover something, to create something in your life so profound, so magnificent, so extraordinary that someone years, decades, centuries later describes your work, your symphony, your sound as if they were listening to the voice of God.
Wow, Barbara. You know what? That's the first time I saw it. Oh my God, you are wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm like, oh wow, okay. And I didn't
Yeah.
know that words. I didn't know that I spoke so profoundly that words come out in written form on the screen. That's wonderful. That's I can use that for time. What did you say, Mr. Mixon? If the words are right there, hello.
Yeah, they did just jump off of the
Yeah,
video and
right.
just
Wouldn't that be awesome? Take notes right there.
yeah, well,
No
our media
whiteboards for
department.
me. Just speak and the words just print.
Well, our Diamond Factor media department did that for me today, so I'm very glad they were able to
Excellent
do
job.
it.
Thank you.
for you.
Thank you.
But
Wow.
But yeah, so now that people, I mean, that's this little clip right there. It's just like a cliffhanger. Like, oh my God, I got to get to hear the whole speech. It was 7 minutes and stuff, and that was powerful. And I think that was like 1 minute or something right there, and it was so powerful. So Barry, because like I said before, legendary. We've been talking about that. They put it in the video because we look at you as being a legend. We really do. You've been doing this not just 1 year. You just didn't just start yesterday. I mean, this thing's been going on for a long time, a part of your whole livelihood. So kind of give us the journey of that real quickly, and tell us how you just kind of got to that point.
Oh, wow. Condensed version is I started in Toastmasters in 2007, went to 3 meetings, left, skipped the whole 2008, came back 2009. And when I walked in, they said, hey, it's this thing called the International Speech Contest. And I was like, okay. And I'm a competitive person. I'm a Marine. So I was like, okay, what's the worst that can happen? I used to lose all the time as a kid. Like, you know, I played for the championship of the world and I would lose every country on the planet. So, okay, I'll lose here. And I didn't win. I didn't lose. I went to the area club level, area level, division level. And then I wound up at the finals 4 months into Toastmasters. I lost. I was devastated. I came in second place. Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. And ever since then, literally a beam of light came, hit the trophy, and I realized that was one of the greatest moments of my life. And I started competing, and I won fast forward, I won like 5 other contests, championships in all levels. In fact, table topics, I won twice. And from there, I got hired or looked at by different people, got hired by a school here in the United States that taught French students. Then I started going to France. University of Paris hired me, and different universities, Trinity College in Ireland. And I wound up living in France like 4 or 5 months out of the year. Je parle français, je comprends français, je lis français, je suis français. So, and then COVID happened. So that was the last time I was in France. I was speaking in Bordeaux, France, in different schools all over France. And that's my journey. And the key thing that really started for me was in 2009 when I did a speech called Return of the Jedi. When they ask you, what do you want to talk about? I was like, I don't know. They said, talk. I said, what can I talk about? They said, talk about something you really know. And I'm a huge Star Wars fan. And Star Wars is my religion for me. And I said, I could talk about that all day long. And the rest is history. And that literally happened. That happened in 2009. And when I went to the World Championship, this is my 10th anniversary of that, winning the International Speech Contest in 2012. And here is 2022. And voila, here I am.
That's awesome that you're celebrating, like you said, 10-year anniversary.
10 years.
And now you won district and moving towards regional and beyond that point. That's a good gift. A good anniversary gift, isn't it?
It's wonderful. And it's transformative for me because it's not about the trophy. I mean, I just happen to have this right here, just laying around, this little thing. I don't even know where it came from. Yes. So this is one of the trophies. And the thing about trophies they don't tell you about, this is like big. So now you have to find space in your house to put this. So the space that you had, now you don't have it in the space anymore. But it's a transformative thing. It's not just, I'm not even the same person I was 10 years ago. Because every time you do your speech, as I teach my clients, you should speak from your heart. Especially in the International Speech Contest, you see a lot of people just putting something together that they put together last week or whatever. The International Speech Contest, to me, is the place where you truly create a symphony. You know, you should, as I instruct all my clients, we're going to create something. You should say it's 7 minutes and 30 seconds to talk to God. Because literally, if you understand the power of words, not only if you create something that goes powerful forward, then it has to go up. So therefore, Toastmasters, or when you're speaking, it's literally a different form of prayer. It's a 7 minute and 30 second prayer, belief, feeling, understanding of who you are as a person, what you see. I don't care if you're talking about a highlighter. If you can tell me why that highlighter is so special to you, somebody might say, I'm going to buy me a highlighter. I don't know why. I don't even have paper, but I just need to get a highlighter because of something that someone said. And that's what that speech was about, creating a sound in your life where someone will describe your work, and not just speaking. I don't care if you're mowing lawns. I don't care if you're cutting hair. I don't care whatever you do. You're a school teacher. That person, when you teach that child is going to remember you, and you've created a sound inside of them. That the reason why I'm a science teacher. If I can get you to understand why 250-ton boats float on water, that's something that you're going to take for the rest. You're going to tell your kids, and your kids are going to tell that because of this bald-headed man that told you 10, 20, 30 years ago. That was a sound that you feel inside of yourself because of something that someone said.
Yes. So now
me.
with you. Now my question to you now, Barry, because I know, like you said, you gave us your journey and how you started way at the end, at the beginning now, and that you continuously do it. Now, what I want to ask you for the audience and myself, because I'm always learning and growing, is you, like you said, you lost. You started, you like, I lost, but you kept going. You were persistent. You just kept saying, I'm going to just do this. In fact, you said you kind of took a little break, but then you came back. So can you kind of give us like something, if somebody else is trying to pursue that, because this can go just not for speeches. This can go for in life in general.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and this is a shameless plug for Toastmasters. I'm not one of these, Toastmasters. It's just, you get 7 minutes and 30 seconds to speak to someone uninterrupted. You get to craft your words. You literally get a chance to create music. And people kind of like have to listen to you. That's always a plus, especially, if you're a child, like, shut up. You had that kind of mother. You mean, in fact, my first table topics, the question was, and I was number one. There was like 7 contestants. They said, contestant number 1, Barry Mixon, if you drove your car into your girlfriend or wife's house, into their house, what would you say? And at first I thought, that's the stupidest question I ever heard. And as I was walking to the lectern to deliver, all the women were sitting there like, what you gonna say now? What's the Jedi? What you gonna say? And I realized literally as I was walking, I said, wait a minute, I'm 52 years old. I've been in trouble with women my whole life. You mean I get 2 minutes and 30 seconds to speak uninterrupted and I know I'm in trouble? Oh, I got this. And it's literally, I had to figure out something to say, not to really win a trophy, just how I would get out of this situation. Barbara, I drove the car into your house. I got to say something more than whoops or I'm sorry, baby. I got to say something if I want the relationship to still continue. So, I mean, I'm joking, but think about how many different ways you can. The most important thing you can ever do is tell a story. And when you speak in the contest, I mean, you do it all the time, but it gives you a chance to, you got to bring it all right there. You have to bring your absolute best. There is no tomorrow. You can't just wake up one morning and just go, I feel like winning a contest today. It's like wine. It has to evolve. You got to work. You don't get this. This is hard. This is 200, 300, 400 times practicing at 1 o'clock. That's why Barbara knew I'd be up, because Barry's still up, because this is what he does. Because you have to imagine that day when you're competing, not just for the audience attention, but against 6 or 7 or 8 other people who want this same trophy. So you got to ask yourself, how badly do you want it? And it's not about this. This is plastic. It's about the energy that you feel when you go through the process. That's the thing.
So now I want to put a pin there, because I want to go back what you said when you were talking about the table topic, and you give us an example of that question, which, I mean, I remember that question too. and the thing, you're like, oh shoot, why would they do a crazy question? Like you said, I was like the same way. But then what you did, which is phenomenal, is that you took it and said, okay, let me take this everyday life. How about if the car did go into my girlfriend or wife's house? What would I explain to her? How would I do it? And how can I do it in 2 minutes or whatever seconds to do it? So I like how you took the principle of saying, when you go into anything, and it seems like that's what you do with your speeches, and just say, okay, let me put this to life experience.
Mhm.
And then to put the passion behind it, and there you go.
You know, you hit the nail on the head. It's about passion. It's about passion. People, and I've done this on my show, and Barbara, you know it. The 7 elements of a story: sound, passion. Sound is first. That's the essence, the initial direction. Passion, the hero. You're the bridge. If I'm going to tell you something, then I have to say it in such a way where you believe me. The antagonist. Think about how many things going on in your life that's not working out. Your bills, your relationships, your kids, your things around the house. So the antagonist is the most important part of the story. Awareness, when you realize this is not something you can do, this is something that you have to do. Firefighters, doctors, lawyers, moms. Transformation, and then sound again. And notice when I said those different professions and things, I didn't have to make it up. Every mom who's listening here knows that. Are your kids wonderful? No, wait a minute. Are your kids wonderful every day? Of course not. So you got to figure out a way to say something to them that is meaning in a more powerful and passionate, and not talking about yelling and screaming, do it because I'm going to kill you. No, not I'm talking about that, but doing it in a way where they go, you know what, mom is right. You know, that Barbara and I, Barbara alluded to it at the beginning of the show. Barbara and I, Barbara and I have been friends for a long. And when I said queens are good and bad, Barbara was like, we had like an argument for real. And I was like, oh my God. And she was upset. I was upset. And I'm like, and we've been friends, but I knew I had to say it to her in a way that spoke to her listening. I couldn't just say, well, I'm a gemologist, damn it, and what I say goes. No, I need to get her to understand. Guys listening, this is how you do it. You figure out what is she saying. Barbara has a special and a different relationship with diamonds because that was one of the last things her father, you watch the show, her father was tragically murdered. I'm a gemologist. Yeah, I cut and play with diamonds all day long, but that's not what diamonds mean to me. So I had to speak to her listening, and that's the power of stories. So when she said, I got it now, because I said to her, Barbara, look at you. You're an incredible woman. Look at, I use Ketanji Brown Jackson. That's a queen. That's a queen. For her to stoically sit there and take those insults and questions about her whole identity as a woman. What does it mean to be a woman? What? Excuse me. What does it mean to be black? I don't know. I've only been black for 61 years, but she handled it with so much poise. And that's what you learn. And her responses were crisp and insightful and feeling and emotional. That's all she was doing was telling stories of her life and how she got to that moment to be in front of all you senators, to be selected as an associate Supreme Court justice. Voila, right there. You see it every day around you. That's the importance of stories. And tabletop, it means you just have to figure it out real quick because you don't have all that time.
Yes. Awesome. Now, Barry, because I know with time, I want to ask you, because we've been talking about legendary and being a legend. And I look at you, because you've seen in your videos, they put in your videos that as well. So can give us a little take on that, because I know you kind of told us how to, build up and what you did, how you got to the journey and what it takes. So when somebody says, I want to be legendary or I'm legendary, and I know we always talk about DC Comics, the Batman and the whole thing, and that's, that's on screen, that's movies and stuff. But now we're talking about real life people. What's your definition meaning of that?
It's interesting you said DC, because lots of times when I teach people how to value their own stories, I often use, if those of you see my tagline, art, science, history, magic, because what you can do is you can pull from different things to get a better understanding of what they mean. So when I began to really truly understand the word legend came from the movie Batman Begins, when his first antagonist, at least in this rendition, of Ra's al Ghul, and Batman is in this prison somewhere in the middle of China. God, for just anywhere in China. And Ra's al Ghul suggests that he joins his organization, and he wasn't even Batman. He was Bruce Wayne. He really didn't know who he was at that point. And Bruce Wayne says, "Oh no, just a vigilante." And Ra's al Ghul says, "No, a vigilante is just a man trapped in his own need for self-gratification. He could be destroyed or locked up." But then he leans in and he says, "But if you make yourself more than just a man, if you devote yourself to an ideal, and then if they can't stop you, you will become something else something else entirely." And Bruce Wayne says, which is, and Ra's al Ghul looks him in the eye and says, "Legend, Mr. Wayne." And just think about that. He didn't say Batmobile and all this stuff. He just said, once you commit to something in your mind, I am a Toastmaster. I'm a distinguished Toastmaster. So every time I get on that stage, I have to understand what I want to do. What is my sound? And if I do it correctly, when you win, that's where you create the legend. You create, because what is a legend? A legend is something that they will remember about you. Again, a sound. You know, people, you don't say Mozart and go, who? You don't say Oprah like, what? Oprah? Who are you talking? They created a sound. They're legendary. When you hear music or athletes or things like this, 1,000 years ago, later, you're still going to be talking about that person. So a legend is not just something you see in superhero movies. A legend is that 6th grade teacher that taught you how to write. That legend is your neighbor who taught you the best way to ride a motorcycle or a bicycle. Legend is your mom teaching you how to cook bake that cake or something like this, boy or girl. You know, your dad teaching you little girls how to work with a wrench and fix a car. And then the woman is 23 years old, talking about, I can fix that. I'm like, you know how to fix a 67 Chevy? Yeah, my dad taught me that all the time. Her dad is a legend. That's what it means. To do something in your life that, as I say in my speech, that leaves a mark. Imagine being able to create something in your life that lets the whole world know that once upon a time you were here and you did so much more than just exist. So when you create your speeches, your stories, it got to come from here. Notice I'm not sitting and say, what did I say? No, I can do that speech today because over time it becomes a part of who you are. I can still do the speech that I did in 1992 when the name of the speech was in the winter of 1992 when I was homeless. I don't need to practice that. I lived a year on the street of Chicago. I remember that every day. All I'm doing is giving you guys a 7-minute and 15-second version of it.
Wow. So basically the legend, just to put it, like you said, when you get it in your mind to become basically unforgettable, where when you pass on, people are still going to remember Barry B. Mixon talking about making sure you have a sound in your life. I'm just using
and you don't work for. I've won 9 championships. This will be my 6th district championship. I don't work for this. Not really. This is not it. I'm working the same way I imagine Mozart would sit down and create a piece of music. It's a sound. It's something that's in his head and his heart and his spirit, and he just has to write it down and play it and he hear it. And the first person you have to satisfy is within yourself, because this is a part of who you are. And when you present it to the world, what makes you a legend is it's so impactful and it's touched so many people that the music that was inside of you is now the music inside of them. The music inside of you has touched the notes, the keys, the instruments, the strings that's inside of your heart. And that thing that I said touched you. And now the legend continues. It's not just the Barry Mixon legend, because how I got here, because there was a whole lot of legends in my life that touched me. So 30 years ago, I lived in the dumpsters, but there was enough legends in my life, whether it be real or just a book, As a Man Thinketh, the stories in here touched me so deeply that 30 years later, I can stand on the stage of my life and create a sound that no one else ever heard.
Wow. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take myself down for like 30 seconds 30 seconds, because I know it's a
30
Toastmasters, we could talk.
Okay.
But I want to do this because I want you to leave something, just like the sound, how you said, but leave something lasting to the audience, and then I'll come back up and we wrap up from there.
Okay.
So I'm going to
30
pick
seconds. All right, cool. I think the most important takeaway that I want people, the whole reason I really competed was because I think I wanted to show people that you don't get to compete at different levels in your life. In this case, the district level and hopefully the world championship without doing the work. We live in a world where people just wake up one morning and just, lay on the beach and drinking mojitos and just say, I want to be the world champion. That's not how you got there. That's not how you do anything. That's not how Michael Jordan did it. That's not how Oprah did it. That's not how Obama did it. That's not how Judge Jackson did it. You have to work at it. It's about persistence. It's about dedication. It's about working at it, as we've always said. Work hard at it when nobody's looking. And that's how you get to where you want to get to in your life. And I just want to be a testimony. My life, the things I've done, to what happens when you hear the music and create the sound that comes from your heart and your mind. And everybody can do it. I'm not special at all. I want people to say, this man lived in a dumpster and he did that. Shoot, I can do that, because your music, it's just different than my music, but the world needs to hear it. And the only way they're going to hear it is that you concentrate your focus on doing whatever you need to do in your life. And that's what I teach on my show every week, is to discover the value of your own story. And from that story comes value. And from that value and that people hear that resonates, that's your sound.
Well, I can always do over 30 seconds, but
I'm just so happy. I'm just so happy that I did it within time. In my heart, I'm like, yes.
I wouldn't cut you off. This is too important. But they say, what I heard in a movie, they said, it's too important. I said, yes. So
one last thing I want to say. You gotta, I think one of the things that I do really well is, because I live in the TV and movie world, I imagine myself. Remember that scene from Idlewild where Paula Patton just got there and she was scared to speak, and then she said, I am the opening act, the headliner, and she went from being nervous, and then she found that, and she was looking phenomenal any day anyway, and with the dress and stuff, but you could see the nervousness. And then when she found that sound, she was like, I am. That's what I felt last night. Yes, I was nervous, but I was the first person to speak, and I just said, I got to bring it like she did. So sometimes you can use someone else's story, real or imagined, to embody it within yourself, and then you become that legend that you've always wanted or imagined yourself being.
Awesome. And it looks like we have some takers in here. So congratulations, y'all.
Hey.
So they're watching the legend. So with that, now, Barry, if somebody was just starting out speaking, and I know I'm throwing another question, but I think this would be good for the audience. And now that I have you too, if somebody was just starting and saying, I see Barry Mixon. In fact, let me really rephrase that, because I want to tell, and I'm going to have to do it quickly too now. Mm-hmm. When I first came into Toastmasters, it's been like 12 years ago. So Barry was there already. And I always call myself a freshman. Like, if you're in high school and you're a freshman, you don't really know what's going on. You're kind of like, okay, everybody tells you where to go, you go. And then sometimes you go in the wrong place because they were messing with you because you're a freshman. Well, that was happening to me when I first got in Toastmasters. But somebody told me, a mentor, and just a side note, always get a mentor, somebody, a coach in your life. It's very important. So a mentor in Toastmasters came to me and they said, you need to go to the annual conference. So me, in my mind, I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, I'm following you. This is my first 6 months in. Went to the conference, the Toastmaster conference. I'm telling you, it was like going to, now I'm putting movies in my head, the Cinderella, like the ball where she went and got the prince. That's how these conferences are. And used to be that. In Toastmasters, I mean, you're talking about people, it was like royalty. You're walking in royalty. People were dressed up. they were just, they speaking all intelligent in these presentations. You're going to these educational sessions and learning stuff. I was like a little kid, but looking for chocolate. I was like,
wow.
I said, oh, look at that speaking. Oh my God. And then when I seen, and then for me, even more so, seeing some women up there speaking on stage and running for different leadership roles that they were doing, I was like, I want to do that. And I kept saying that to my mentor when they had the contest. And this was it was an international contest. And Barry was competing that year. Didn't know Barry. He didn't know me. Just like I said, I was fresh out of water. Sat there. They started the contest. He got up and spoke. And it was like, you know how the heavens open up. I know. And I was sitting there in my seat saying to myself, I want to do that. I want to be like that. Now, this is a person now at that time was the shyest person, scared to talk to anybody, didn't want to network, didn't want to be there really, didn't want to go anywhere except back home. But when I seen Barry, I mean, the other ones were good too. but when I seen Barry, I was like, okay, if he can do it, and my mentor looked right at me. She said, you can do it.
You can do it. Yep.
You can do it. And from that point on, I told myself that was the standard for me. That was the standard for me. And then we got the chance to get to, know each other through Toastmasters. And I'm so glad that I stepped out to see the legends, okay, and to move forward. So because I want to become that legend. So like Barry said, he is a legend. He's teaching other people how to get to that point. So saying all that, Barry, what would you say the one thing that a person like you, back in the day, myself at that point when I was just like a freshman, what would you say to that person to get to that next level to be a legend?
I think the most important thing is to really hear the power of your story. Really, we hear the old adage, there's no one like you. Everyone has a story. You hear that all the time. But let me tell you the other part of that you don't hear. Everyone has a story, but everyone doesn't know how to tell the story. I can't tell you how many clients I have literally on my docket right now who have incredible stories. I mean, when you listen to them and they're like, oh yeah, I got my PhD when I was 28 or 25, and you're like, what? Or I did this, or I ran 7 marathons, and I'm like, and they're sitting there saying, well, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? You ran 7 marathons, or we do great things all the time. And I think the most important thing for a lot of people is they don't realize their own stories. They don't realize how, Barbara has gone through all kinds of things in her life. And when I first met Barbara, when she told me about father and all the things, I'm sitting there like, for real? People say to me, when I tell people I lived in a dumpster, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, let me be serious. It was raining outside really bad in Chicago, and a whole bunch. I used to be out in there or under some tree or a car or something that's to survive. Yes, the man that you're seeing here today lived in dumpsters, back alleys, abandoned cars, dug out, there's a whole, I don't even want to tell you that, but yet I valued something that was inside of me. I knew that God didn't put all this inside of me to be here. And I think the most important people have to do is, it's not about, I don't have a Shakespearean voice, or, I don't sound like Barry White, the mic helps, but no, but I was silly enough to think that what I thought about mattered. In fact, a quick story, when I did the Return of the Jedi speech, I started at Christ Universal Temple. And I was supposed to do that speech. It was a practice towards the final, but I decided not to do it. I did a different speech. And Reverend Carey was there. Reverend Carey, those of you know, oh my God, I know her. I mean, Reverend Carey is beautiful. I mean, God rest her soul, she's passed on, but tall, statuesque, and I mean, you can see intelligence, wisdom just pouring out of this woman. And after I did this other speech, I walked into her, I just said, hi, Reverend Carey. She said, hello, Barry. her voice is a lot more elegant. I'm sorry. Hello, Barry. And I said, hi. And she was like, I was really, she said, Barry, I'm kind of disappointed. And I'm like, oh, Lord. See, I wasn't reading the Bible or anything there, and I knew I wasn't going to heaven, certainly for not a first-round draft pick. Now I pissed off a prominent reverend. I'm like, okay, what I do now? And she says, I said, why were you disappointed? She says, because I thought you were going to talk about Luke. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't even know where Luke is. I still don't know where Luke is in the Bible. I think it's New Testament. I'm not even sure. So, but I said in a really, table topics, well, Reverend Carrie, I'm a babe in Christ. I really don't know where Luke is. And she says, no, not that Luke. Luke Skywalker.
That's funny.
I fell out. I mean, literally, I almost fainted because and Reverend Carey had to be about 76, 77 years old. And I always thought Star Wars just was this stupid thing that was in my head. Oh, grow up. Oh, my God, you're still talking about Star Wars. And here's a prominent, totally Christian, spiritual being said, no, I wanted to hear about Luke Skywalker. And it was like God touched me and said, it's okay to talk about what you want to talk about because there's other people that need to hear that message. And that's why when I said I was sitting in a hotel room, pissed off because I lost and I had all the shades closed in. I wanted to see black because I was so angry. And that next morning when I woke up, a single beam of light was shining on the trophy. And I knew right then and there. And like I said, I didn't go to church. I knew that God put me in that moment for that purpose.
Wow.
And the rest is history.
That's deep. So
start from just valuing who you are as a person, because that's what Mozart had to do. He died he had a terrible life, but yet 220 years later, when Comcast created this whole thing that we call the Xfinity system, look it up on YouTube. Just go 2010 Comcast commercial, and what you hear is Mozart, Santus, and that's when I said, oh my God, it's about creating a sound.
Wow. That's what I'm always talking about, and you just confirmed it, Barry, about yourself first. So I'm loving it. Wonderful. So what I want to do, because I know I went a little bit beyond the time, but that's okay, because this was good for people to understand in more detail that you just can't just wake up one day and say, oh my God, what a win. I got a speech. No, you don't. No. I mean, think of it. That's his life. You don't do that. So
don't embarrass yourself. Don't embarrass yourself. You're in front of, the club level, 10, 20 people, area level, 40, 50. The district level, you're in front of a whole group of people. Why are you going to waste 7 minutes and 30 seconds on something that doesn't mean anything to you? So if you give them even if you lose, when I lost in 2009, there's still some people to say, aren't you the guy with the light? Look at Barbara, we're talking about 2009. Aren't you the guy with the lightsaber? Aren't you the guy? Weren't you the homeless guy? So, that's why I don't get a big head about it. Like when people say, oh, Barry, you're phenomenal. I don't go, well, of course. No, I don't say that. You know why? Because they heard this speech today. 2 days ago, they heard that speech. But now when I walk in, if I create another speech, there's an expectation.
The standard, yeah.
There's an expectation. I told somebody who I was competing against when she was telling me that, she was all this. And I was just like, all you're telling me is that I need to practice 200-300 more times because I know you said that you're going to bring something. So if you're going to bring something, okay, you may be better than me, but you're not going to outwork me. You're just not. You're not going to outwork me. And then when you do win, I'm going to be the first one to go, girl, dang, that was awesome. Because I don't mind being beaten, but bring something that's on a higher level. Don't talk about Beethoven and giving me, don't give me Daffy Duck review. If you're talking about Beethoven, 1st, 5th, 9th symphony, I need to hear it. I need to hear how Beethoven struck you. Don't just add it in like it's one order of Beethoven. Come on in. Okay, here's your pound of Beethoven. No, this is the man that created music. that touched people 200 years later. You can't just, that would be like me saying, I like Paris. What do you like about Paris? Oh, I like croissant. Eiffel Tower was nice. And, I had a couple of glasses of wine. That's not what France is. That's not what France. Guys, go ahead and tell your woman, baby, your woman says, do you like where I look? Yeah, you're okay. Look where you're going to sleep tonight. You all right? Yeah, it's okay. You're all right.
Well, so, Barry, I want to put, because I want to make sure that we could come right back. I want to do a special inspiration message from Serena. She's from Help Heal Humanity. You've seen her many a times.
Mrs. B? Oh my God, Mrs. B. Oh, wow. Wow.
I thought this would be appropriate.
Wow. Okay.
I thought it'd be appropriate, first of all, because this is a new show on Thursday nights to let everybody know. Me and Mrs. B, me and Serena co-host
Mrs. B.
And Barry would really understand this message too, because he did talk a little bit about, what he went through with homelessness. So we're going to put this message, bring us right back, and then we're going to close out. So here we go.
And although it may seem a little mundane, packing up boxes and, being on the assembly line, what we're really doing is putting in hundreds of hours into the people on the streets who need us. And they need us in a way that none of us will ever understand. And for the last couple of weeks, I've been on the grounds every day. They know we're coming today, they know we're coming tomorrow, and they look forward to seeing us, because we're the one little bit of hope that they have, to have a warm meal in their bellies and to know that somebody in the world is actually caring for them and loving them. And without people like you showing up today to give your time, your energy, and your spirit, none of this is possible. So I want to really say thank you to everyone, because what we're doing here today may seem small, but it's actually really, really big, and it's impacting hundreds and thousands of families. So I thank you, I love you, I look forward to doing this with you today. My name is Serena Buffalino, and I am the founder of Help Heal Humanity. Help Heal Humanity is a charity that is focused on unconditional giving, love, and support to some of the most vulnerable communities in the world.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Mrs. B, Mrs. Buffalino, I don't even know her. She's a middle school teacher, special ed teacher, all the way in Toronto, Canada. And when this trophy is nice, but let me show you you know what? You just saw the real trophy. Look at the people's faces. Look at what she was standing there. All these people, men, women, male, black, white, Hispanic, all working together, and the sound that they heard in their heads, the woman that kept putting the bottle down and all the warehouse, Mrs. Buffalino created a sound that touched all those people, and those people weren't looking at the clock, weren't saying, oh, I got to get out of here. I'm not getting paid for this. They're doing this for kids they don't even know in another country, and it all started from Mrs. B. She's not Rihanna. She's not some famous actress. She's Serena Buffalino, not Serena Williams. But yet those people felt her energy, and she created the humanity inside of herself that spread out to everyone else. And that is what it looks like when you create a sound.
Yes. And I love your sound, Barry, and I definitely love Serena's sound too. And then just again to let everybody know, we do come on every Thursdays now. We started 2 weeks ago with the show Help Humanity Show. Me and Serena, our co-host. The first 30 minutes, basically, we talk about what HHH is doing for the world, not just in Haiti, not just in France, not just in Canada, but she's trying to hit all continents right now. But she needs help. She needs help. She can't do it alone. She has volunteers. I volunteered to make sure she can get visibility, and I'll push it until I can, because you see, like Barry said, it's so important. So important. Lovely to have the trophies, but the real trophy is when you can help somebody and make a difference in somebody's life. And that's what Barry's doing with his speeches when he speaks. And that's what Serena's doing out there every day in front of people, not just taking money, but she's out there on the street. So if you show up, please show up on Thursdays too. Just a little plug there, because I really want people to know it's at 9:00 Eastern time at night. A lot of people thought it was in the morning, but we're doing it at night because of Canada and everything. So please watch that show. So Barry, thank you so much. Again, congratulations on just being phenomenal, not just being a winner for the District 103 International Speech Contest, going next level, but just being a winner in life and showing us how to be legendary.
I made a promise to God. I made a promise in the depths of my homelessness. I remember it was December 15th, 1992. And I remember a promise to God that if I ever got out of homelessness, I would spend the rest of my life helping people discover the value of their own stories. And so that's what I hope I do every week on my show. I see other people. Barbara, you do that. You facilitate a reason for me for me to give my platform and tell my story. And you've helped so many other people. So to you, I see it, Barbara. Thank you.
No, I'm doing that not to cut you off.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
That your show comes on.
Barbara's an excellent. She's an excellent executive producer. Barbara has all kinds of little signs because I can talk and she'll be like, okay, just like, and those were symbols, and I'll be like, okay, let me shut up. So I missed it. I thought that was a shut up sign, but I will shut up now. Thank you. Thank you, Barbara, so much.
It's funny because I know Barry, we're so used to different signals when he does his show. No, I was just letting him know I'm showing his show coming on every Wednesday. But
you see, guys, you see how I was able to listen and just say, yes, ma'am. And it didn't cost me. I didn't lose my maleness because I listened. I'm like, yes, ma'am. Okay, let's get it done.
Well, Barry, this has been wonderful. I just wanted to make sure that I brought you on because, first of all, to get on your schedule before you get on, like, CNN and, all those other shows.
But you know what, Barbara? Wherever I go, I'm taking you with me. I'm just letting you know. Wherever I go, I'm taking you with me. Barbara is my angel. Absolutely. One of my angels. Absolutely.
So I can get what they call the back passes. Where you can go in the back, those passes when you're speaking. I can go in the back part and watch
right there. Right. No, front seats. Front seat right there. So this way, if I want to do anything, see, I'm better than Will Smith. If I went up there when I got my Oscar, you would have said, Barry, wait, hold up. You would have stopped me before I got there. So I need you right there to help me. Yes, exactly.
Pull back.
Because I'm kind of special. Anyhow.
Treat us nice, especially when we treat really well.
Yes.
So thank you again, Barry. Congratulations. I'm going to do the recording again if anybody missed at the beginning of the show. Again, thank you for coming on. This is the Diamond Effect Experience Network with myself, Barbara Beckley. This is a special edition, basically talking about being a legend. We have a legend right here among us right here, Mr. Barry B. Mixon. He has won District 103 International Speech Contest, and he's going for the gold. And I believe that he's going to get to that point. Believe it. Send those vibes out.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Imagine what it would feel like to do something, to make something, to build something, to design something, to invent something, to teach something, to write something, to draw something, to dream something, to discover something, to create something in your life so profound, so magnificent, so extraordinary that someone years, decades, centuries later describes your work, your symphony, your sound, as if they were listening to the voice